Good morning again. We're going to try this for round 2. Apparently my sound was really bad before, which is not a good combination with my cold and my froggy throat. So again, I am Tina Swithin, author of Divorcing a Narcissist, founder of One Mom's Battle, creator of the High Conflict Divorce Coach Certification Program, and also Family Court Awareness Month, which is my big heart project. Hello, good morning, much better, everyone's saying, yay. Cannot give legal advice. We are very much a community of survivors who come together and support each other with collective wisdom for anyone going through a, lack of a better term. Unfortunately, we're all lumped into the high conflict category, even though I work hard to educate people that it only takes one person to create a high conflict situation, and many times that person is a narcissist. So welcome to Coffee with Tina. I wanted to recap Family Court Awareness Month. I believe the final count is right around 230 cities, counties, and states. We had the states that joined: Arizona, Idaho, Illinois, Maryland, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, West Virginia, and Texas. We had, in the very beginning, when Family Court Awareness Month started leading up to it, Sandy Ross and I were saying, if we can get 100 proclamations, resolutions from cities and counties declaring November as Family Court Awareness Month, we have done a good thing. So to have over 230 cities, counties, and states, I have so much gratitude for all of you who made this happen. I did the ones here in my own county, but that is such a small percentage of what our final count was. This is all, credit to those of you who were working so hard to support our efforts to make, put your own community on the map. And those of you who went to either, whether it was virtual or in person, city council meetings, commissioner meetings. I got one of my favorite moments from the whole thing was getting, I don't want to call them out specifically, but it was a very large city in the Midwest, and they called and wanted to be a part of our efforts. Nobody petitioned them. Nobody asked them to join us. They had just heard what was happening, and a representative wanted to have their city participate. And so, some of these moments have been so amazing, and watching survivors share their story and find their voice in this, and to watch these community elected officials look at us sideways, kind of going, wait, what? Kids aren't being protected? What do you mean? It confirmed for me that people don't even realize we have a problem. And I was one of those people, and I know you probably were too, where it's just common sense. It's a no-brainer that child safety would be a priority in family court. But those of us have learned the hard way that that's truly not what's happening. So thank you all so much for your efforts. Let's jump into the questions. So the first one is, my ex has started using Our Family Wizard, but this really could be, whether it's talking parents, emails, whatever it is. So he started texting me these overly embellished updates on our daughter's well-being during his parenting time. And she goes on to say, the first few times I responded back or even gave him updates, but these messages oozed with embellishments and narcissism. She ate all of her vegetables for me, or Our daughter displays such a sweet demeanor at all times. She's so well adjusted. And then back to reality, she's not. Mom says she's taking longer and longer to get adjusted between visits. And her question is, do these messages require a response? For those of you who have read my book or followed my blog years ago, I also experienced these messages, and I call them crispy bacon and fuzzy bunnies because it was pulled from a couple of my ex's messages. Sarah loves her sandwich with extra crispy bacon, and it was so cute watching the girls, as the little bunny rabbit pranced through the backyard and just their joy and delight. And I used to just cringe when I would get these messages because I knew what he was doing. And, that's just all a narrative that they're creating for litigation purposes to shut down whatever you're saying. For me, I knew at first it really pushed my buttons, and, I would just write back something brief, thank you for the update. If it were something, countering things I had been saying, for instance, the person who submitted the question said she's not well adjusted, yet he's saying she is. For me personally, I would write down, that's very interesting. That's not what I'm witnessing on my end of things. And I will tell you, it's impossible to give a blanket answer because there's so many different things that are involved in these situations when it comes to who the court professionals are, who the judge is. But in general terms, it is a red flag over time to the court when one parent is painting this beautiful picture and the other parent is saying, no, we have a regression going on. My child will no longer sleep in her own bed. I can't even use the restroom alone because I have a class 5 clinger. Whatever it is. And that's where your documentation and daily journaling about these issues can play such a big role over time. I do think that it's really important to remember, and it's something I talk a lot about, in the first year, sometimes 2 years, sometimes it's even a little past that, each court kind of gives a grace period. They expect that if you're in court, there's a high level of conflict. There's a lot of, he said, she said, back and forth. And so, once you hit that year mark or that 2-year mark, that's where, if you're still there, still expressing issues, that's where they're going to lean in a little bit more and say, what's the problem here? Why are these people still in the courtroom? And this is where a play therapist can come in, really handy to kind of help document that. I know my daughter's preschool teacher ended up being a very helpful resource because she was able to show when my daughters came back to school on Monday mornings after parenting time with my ex-husband, they were very out of sorts. They were not well kept. One time I got a message from the preschool teacher that he had dropped them off with a brown grocery bag, and all that was in it was like a banana or maybe 2 bananas and a bunch of goldfish crackers just dumped into the bag. So things like that, and in the beginning, he was probably packing them beautiful little lunches and really, but again, those messages, the, beautiful bento box lunches, those things aren't typically sustainable for the narcissist. And so, if you aren't reacting and if you are continuing to document the issues, bringing it to the attention of the professionals, That can be really helpful. I know Dina has mentioned civil communicator in the comments. I know a couple people now that use that program. I'm personally not a fan of it because I'm not a fan of it if you are dealing with someone that builds the case for you in writing. Because the civil communicator program, which is more hands-on than our family wizard, they have like professionals who monitor the messages and things like that. They're going to clean it up so the other party actually presents well. And in my situation, that program would have been horrible because I was able to catch my ex in so many things because of what he put in writing that I don't know if it would have played out the same way had someone been monitoring his messages and forcing him to write in bullet points. So for me, that program would have been a definite no. But I do know other people where, especially if you feel the court doesn't care, even if you've passed that grace period and the other parent is berating you and you're in a 50-50 situation, which kind of is set, and you don't see hope for that changing, which I'm of the mindset that there's never a grand finale in family court until the kids age out of the system. So if you're in a situation where you just want the peace day to day and the other party is not doing anything that would allow you to really catch or paint a picture for court, then that may be a peaceful way to go about it. But for me, I struggle with recommending that program because of that issue. But I know it works well for Dina, and there are some situations where it is a godsend. So everybody has to find what works best for them. I don't like our family wizard because they're so tied into the AFCC and father's rights stuff, and I just have lost all respect for that program, which is my humble opinion, but you can do with it what you want. A lot of people don't have a choice. It's just ordered in your case. Next question, what does it take for the narcissist to walk away? It's not easy. If you have some, and then this is another area where it comes down to profiling the person you are up against. For example, I had a client last week and her ex in a previous relationship he fought really hard for the two kids, and then he won 50-50. And then he ended up, the mask dropped once he had that perceived win. And he ended up with pretty much walking away from the kids and having no contact with them. So it really is an individual thing based on who you are up against. And so that past history weighs into the client and I working together to profile who he is. Right now, he is going, guns blazing and really fighting hard. And it's hard to say where it's going to go, but we know that he has a past of doing that. In my situation, I knew from the very beginning that our case was all about money. It was all about image. And once he started losing the kids, the court started chipping away at his parenting time because of my documentation and my filings with the court to show them how my daughters were suffering and being able to paint that picture so well over time. There came a point where he had lost all parenting time. And then his child support arrears, that's where that leverage kicked in because it grew to a certain point where it actually started affecting his life. he had lost his passport and they wouldn't renew his passport because of the arrears balance. And so for me, it was using that leverage to get him to sign off, and we terminated parental rights. But it's going to play out different for everybody, and if you have somebody who their family image, their identity is built around being a great parent and the Instagram parent and all the pictures that they need to impress their mom, my case and so many others, it's not even the narcissist that you're up against. It's their mom, the mother-in-law. And, then you're fighting an entire team, and it becomes profiling all of them. And so really figuring out where is the leverage, if there's addiction issues, but usually once you get out of that grace period and they start feeling defeated, or that the court has seen behind the mask, or that becomes a threat to their image in the community, it can be easier to start chipping away. But, my goal, because I knew my ex was not safe around my kids, was to just keep chipping away at it. There's no, magic card that is going to say, okay, this makes him, mysteriously disappear. It was very much an ultra marathon to get to that point. And when I walk through these journeys with clients, that's very much the way it plays out there as well, is that it's an ultra marathon for those who get to that point where they just walk away or give up, or the court just, clips them of all contact. So variety of things, and how they play out there. The next question, but again, if you have input, advice, if something has worked for you that you can offer, please add it to the comments, because, I have my lens that, through my case, but also through other cases. But I know that so many of you have different experiences, and, you never know when your story is going to be the one that fits someone else's circumstances. So if you are able, always please share. I invite you to. Third question, is there a way we can support moms online through court hearings? Absolutely. That is one of the benefits of COVID. If there are any blessings that have come up out of this, is that a lot of courts moved online. Some have stayed online. Some give you the option of doing it online. But you can usually go to your local court website and find out if proceedings are, if you can do them, watch proceedings online. You might have to do some research, find out which department each judge is in, what their calendar is. I know that sometimes here in my area, one whole calendar on, let's say Monday, maybe all child support hearings. But, whether it's you supporting a mom or you truly learning your court system and your professionals, double bonus either way. Both of those things are invaluable for different reasons. And this is one of the things I would love to really see start happening within our state chapters. If you aren't familiar with the One Mom's Battle state chapters, you can just go to ombchapters.com. We've made it really easy. Submit your information. It gives you step-by-step on what we need from you to bring you into the state chapter. We do have a pretty strict process to make sure you are who you say you are. And that's for the protection of all members. We don't want someone's ex in the group. And so I encourage you to join. There's a variety of benefits from those chapters, whether it's knowing when, new legislation is in the pipeline and everyone needs to act and call their representatives, or somebody can say, hey, I have a court case on Monday. Here's the Zoom link, and I would love for people to join. That's a wonderful way to make people feel supported, to get to know each other. Yeah, some great things have come out of the state chapters. Gigi says the state chapters are much more focused and safe. Yes, you can talk openly about things going on, compare notes on family court professionals that you're dealing with. And on that note, I should plug our other website, intheirbestinterests.com. There's an area and it's called Say Their Names. If you have a family court professional who is not acting in the best interest of children, maybe they are of the cottage industry of alienation, experts, whatever they are, put the information in there. You can do it anonymously, but that's going to be a big push of mine next year, is really collecting information, because for example, let's say if 5 people in the state of Maryland have had the same experience, almost identical, with the same GAL, if you haven't submitted it anonymously, and just so you know, it's not a public database. Nobody can look it up because we do want to protect those who are open to sharing their names and information. So let's say Gigi puts in the name of her GAL and lists her contact names for us to see only. And then we have 4 other moms or dads who have had negative experiences. We're going to reach out to all of you and ask, do we have permission to connect all 5 of you to compare notes? Because these are the areas where we see people unite and go up against these professionals. It's much safer to do it in a group than it is to go up against any professional individually. And when you have these types of stories build, that's where the media is much more likely to pick up on this if you're able to show clear-cut bias or collusion or corruption. So make sure, and we even want to know who the good players are. If you've had a really, really wonderful experience with a family court professional, go to intheirbestinterests.com and let us know about that. Go down to the Say Their Names portion. All right, everyone, happy Friday. I was off last week. I'm happy to be back, and I'm taking part of next week off just to rest and get back into the swing of things after a really, really busy November. But again, I just want to thank each and every one of you who helped us to make Family Court Awareness Month such a huge success. I'm actually thinking of turning it into a nonprofit, and my work there will always be 100% volunteer, but I see so much opportunity for us to really take it to the next level. And so stay tuned on all of that. All right, everyone, take care and happy December.